Hi, and welcome back to Kingdom Come Deliverance, where I am in the Weird Noise Forest. But first, I have to tell you that I recorded something more. It was just the completion of the Interlopers quest. You get some little tidbits of this now, so that you're on par with what I know.
Some woodcutters reported there's an encampment across the ford on the wooded headland there. Go and deal with that. It looks like your job is done. We don't know of any other camps, so let's hope we'll have some peace for a while.
Very well.
What are you loitering around here for? You did your job, you got your money. What more could you want?
Well, some thanks wouldn't go amiss.
I've thanked you enough, with money. But if you want someone to embrace you and sing your praises, go to the local baths. They know all about that sort of thing. Now be off with you. I still have things I need to do.
And there we are at the miller between Sassau and Ledechko. You wanted to have half the money.
I'm back.
So I see. Well, have you got it?
I have. There was a small fortune stashed away there.
Well, well. So, give me my half and we can each go on our merry way.
Here you are.
Splendid! It's been a pleasure working with you. Goodbye.
Interesting. The charlatan is now in Ledechko, and we have now made the world far more safe. But that's all that happened, and it's not really a thing that I want to show extensively. But we're now in Weird Noise Forest, where we have to find the nightingales by using the bird cages. 3 of the Rete huntsmen's precious nightingales have flown off into the woods somewhere. Should be somewhere in the woods, so it's running. I'll have to keep my ears open. I have to listen out for their distinctive song and then lay the traps nearby. Then all I have to do is wait until they fly into the traps. So, lay one of those out. I definitely heard that thing. So, how far do I have to... How long do I have to wait? How far do I have to travel? Okay, I think that might be the wrong position here. I'm hearing it perfectly now, so here. It was here that I heard that weird noise before. It's one of those old roe hunting spots, if you remember. So that's what's happened with Rose if I send my dog after him. He dies, I get 1 kidney, and the dog gets the kidney, because he's a good dog.
That's my...
But first he'll get the command free. So that he doesn't continue haunting others, because that happened once. Might have been a bug. But you'll get the kidney now. Where was it that I threw that? Over here somewhere. What the fuck? Where was that? I'm hearing it again. Wasn't it here that I let the birdcage? It's still empty. Maybe we really need to... Oh, dog is tired. From one hunt? He went so long on. Okay, so I'll be going around the area and listening for more bird positions. So I'll see you when I find more bird positions. Or when I find a filled cage. Oh, the bandit camp is occupied again. This is one of the easier kinds, I think. Oh no, I should be able to open those chests that were here in this camp. But let's see what this camp hides. Maybe it's that why it's occupied again, because I never unlocked the chest. Like Aqua Vitalis and a Lazarus Potion. Lazarus Potion is the most valuable potion there is, I think. But I want to continue searching for birds, so I'll be doing that. Here's another one. So this is where I drop the next one. Empty bird cage. And drop. Trap set. Okay. Okay. This was in the right position, so I have to mark my position here. Trap set. Trap set. Okay. The other one didn't. Maybe that's what's there's another one. No, it's the one behind me, I think. Maybe that's the thing that because all my inventory got de-equipped for the red turners. Maybe that's why it always said trap set, trap set, trap set. Because I lost them out of my inventory. Let's see, what have we here? Bird trap, pick up. Quest items, bird trap. Bird trap holding a nightingale. Okay, that was the right position. Yeah, it's not singing anymore, so just going around was enough time, so I don't have to wait in terms of game wait. So I'm listening for the next nightingale and I'll see you when I find it. Okay, this one is silent now too. So we got the second one. I'm pretty certain I searched all of this place already. But I'll just search more again. I see you when I hear the next nightingale. I'm hearing it. That general direction. This general direction. This general direction. Here. Okay. Wow, that took a long while because I had to run around the place like thrice. Until I was ready. Was ready to hear the third one. Okay, then I'm just gonna stand over here and wait 1 hour. Quest started. Is a friend indeed. Follow-up quest for Fritz and Matthew, yeah? Got Fritz and Matthew, new job at the mill. Now it's time to find out how they're getting on. Find out how Fritz and Matthew are doing. That's great. That's great. I'd like to check up on them. We got all our bird traps. Now I'm going to bring the nightingales to the huntsman. And after that I'll definitely directly go towards Matthew and Fritz in the Ledechko. No idea what's going on now. Oh god. Is there like a quick turn button? No.
Want to earn a bit?
Now this won't take long.
Okay, we had like several times we got guys ambushing us now on the way. But whatever. What I wanted to say is we'll go to the hunter and afterwards we'll meet at the Ledechko mill for Matthew and Fritz's visit. Because I assume that's another great quest line. I really like the quest line about Hare and the Master Huntsman and Master Huntsman Nicholas. And I think so far I liked Matthew and Fritz as characters, so I'd like to see more of them. So I'm looking forward to that. So we'll see us at the Huntsman. And we arrive at the Master Huntsman in Rete.
God save you. What can I do for you?
So, I prowled around for a while, and I have something for you.
Wonderful! How many did you get?
All 3.
So that's all of them. Excellent. Let's hope the burden never hears about my little mistake.
Let's hope not.
Thank you, lad. Here's something for your efforts.
40 ordinary arrows. And 150 groschen. So that says to me that, yeah, game saved, that I'm gonna sell 40 ordinary arrows to you. Who the fuck wants ordinary arrows? By the way, can I learn something from you?
Can you help me with training?
Certainly.
I want to achieve...
All right.
Oh, I'm ready for mastery here.
Now, see you...
We reach a new level in Hound Master. Didn't even think about that. Go away. Yeah, Hound Master was at 15. Hunting is not at 15 yet, and bow is not at 10 yet. Okay. So we're ready for doing really good stuff with our hound that just runs away all the time. There is a quest tipster. There's a quest tipster. What is a quest tipster doing here? Since when do I have no quests here? Whoa.
God save you.
Do you know if there's anyone around here who could use my help?
Aye, there could be something for you. Go see Armand, the executioner. Long as you got the stomach for dealing with a fella that's cursed.
Okay.
See you later.
So Herman the Executioner has a follow-up quest for us, and it got to be available at the same time as the Matthew and Fritz quest, so our good friend Herman will have to wait, because we're now going for Ledechko. So I'll see you over there. And there we already arrive at the mill that Matthew and Fritz work at. Hi.
Hey, twat face.
I want to get...
Certainly.
I'd like to...
First, yeah.
Well. How do you like it at the mill, Fritz? It's got to be better than the mines.
It's worse here than at Scarlet's. There you could disappear without anyone noticing. But here...
But why would you want to disappear? Nimoy isn't here.
No, he's not. But the local foreman is an even bigger ass.
I'm not sure that's possible.
You better believe it. I'd like to pay him back for everything and drown him in the river.
Drown him? What's he done to you?
It was the first or the second day here. We had a disagreement and I told him off. And then, all of a sudden, we're fighting and that fucker just throws me in the river. I nearly drowned.
Well, how did you get out? I thought you couldn't swim.
I can't. They pulled me out. I was up to my waist in water.
I see. Well, I'd be pretty fucking angry too. So you want to pay him back?
Exactly. I don't give a shit about anything around here, but that bastard's in need of a good trouncing.
What about the others at the mill? Are they awful as well?
The miller's an old fool. He believes every word that comes out of Thomas's mouth. It's hopeless. And then there's the miller's daughter. She's a pretty lass, and kind with it. And what can she do? Nothing. Not that it stops Matthew going to see her. But it's Thomas who's the root of the problem.
Do you think he's jealous? Is she a sweetheart?
He might make puppy dog eyes at her, but most of the time he just struts about like a peacock. I really don't think she's the problem.
I spoke with him briefly and he doesn't seem so horrible.
Then you ought to try working with him. He's a sneaky bastard. And arrogant. You should see how he puffs himself up when he's off to play dice with Lawrence.
Who's Lawrence? Another mill hand?
Aye, but at the neighbouring mill. They call him the Wren. Damned if I know why. Thomas goes there to play dice with him.
And what do you want to do about it? Do you think you can come to an agreement?
No fucking chance. Matthew hopes so because he likes it here. It's true the work's better than the mines, but the pay's worse.
So how do you plan on dealing with it? Leaving?
Perhaps. But first, I want to give Thomas a proper trouncing. I mean a real thrashing.
And you think that will help?
Maybe. Maybe it'll knock some sense into that fat head of his. Or he'll be too frightened to mess with me.
That might help.
So why don't you arrange a fight with him? If we win, he'll leave us alone. Oh, we could...
What?
No.
We could lure him off someplace far away and then wait for him. Maybe to play dice with Lawrence. He would have to go through the dark woods.
I'll think about it.
The answer is no. God damn it, Matthew.
Greetings, Henry.
Give me some reason here. Something normal.
I've heard you don't have it easy here.
So you spoke to Fritz then? I bet that wasn't quite how he put it.
No, not quite. Apart from Thomas's name, the rest was mostly swear words.
I can imagine. I've been hearing the same from him all week. The foreman here is a pain in the arse. He's trying either to wear us to the bone or force us to leave.
Always forcing you to work, is he?
If only. That wouldn't be so awful. But nothing we do is good enough for him. There's always some reason for him to yell at us.
I can imagine.
You know what it's like. We do too little, and it takes us too long, and what we eat's worth more than the work we've done, and it's no fun listening to that sort of shit day after day.
And the miller won't stick up for you. I would have thought all the yelling would drive him mad.
Not really. He trusts that loudmouth bastard more than us. He's got us down for a pair of parasites.
I see.
What's so stupid is the mill really needs us. They haven't had any hands here for quite a while, and the mill needs a lot of fixing. But with them around, we can't even get to work.
And you definitely don't... You don't ever provoke him?
I've already told you once, he's an arsehole. I'd say there's nothing we can do about it. If he wants to yell at us, he'll yell at us.
Have you tried talking with him?
What do you think? But that just sets him off. He starts saying we're practically bandits, and what he's going to do about it. That gets Fritz going, and he starts yelling too, and...
I'd never have guessed he's like that.
Well, get a job here as a hand, and you'll soon see.
And what does he do during the day? Does he work with you?
Good one. He keeps his eye on everything, but his hand only touches the saw when the miller shows up, which isn't that surprising.
Why?
The last time he did anything, he almost took his thumb off with a chisel. I wouldn't put an axe in those paws of his either.
So he's clumsy and arrogant. That's what you said about your last master, that Nimoy.
Aye, but at least you could sneak away from old Nimoy for a bit. No chance of that around here.
And what do you want to do about it? Just run away?
Actually, I'd like to stay here, at least for a bit. I never would have thought I'd like working in a mill, but not with him around. It's unbearable, and there's no one I can complain to. But you
Henry,
could.
I'm glad you came.
Do you think they'll listen to me?
They did once already, didn't they? They hired us because of you. You could have another word with them.
Well, back then, making promises was enough. Now, it will be worse.
You can forget about the miller. It's Thomas you need to convince. The miller takes his opinion seriously. So, will you do it for us? Again?
Fine. I'll try and talk to him.
I'm glad. But try not to get on his wrong side. You won't get anywhere with him then.
I'll keep that in mind.
So we have
See you later.
a proper way of dealing with things offered by Matthew. sort out Fritz and Matthew's problems with Thomas. But I don't want to talk to Thomas first. I want to talk to all other guys. So this is Thomas. That's old Thomas. The miller.
Good day to you. What do you need?
Are you happy with your new workers?
They're good carpenters, but someone constantly has to stand behind their backs and keep an eye on them.
Really?
Yes, yes. When I'm there with them, everything goes smoothly. But the moment I leave, I hear Thomas yelling at them.
I've heard.
I don't know what I'd do without Thomas. He keeps an eye on everything for me now. The mill wouldn't function without him.
Yeah, but Thomas has problems with carpentry.
You're right. You should hear him cursing when he has to turn his hand to it. He knows he'll never be a real miller.
What, just because of that?
No. He's not too skilled at handling the water wheel and the mill run either. He can wield a shovel well enough, but otherwise I have to keep telling him how to do things.
So he's not been foreman too long then?
No. My son used to run the mill, but then his wagon overturned with him inside it. It'll be a year ago now, come spring.
I'm sorry.
Me too, boy. And after Martin was gone, the other workers left and only Thomas stayed. I don't know what I'd do without him.
What happened that day? Wagons don't overturn themselves.
He was transporting new stone blocks for the mill and he had to take a detour. Since the wagon was too heavy for the ford, it was after a downpour. The load must have slipped and the whole wagon fell on him. I pray it was quick.
So he was alone, with no one to help him?
Of course not. Thomas was there too. He helped Martin to load the wagon in Sasau, and both of them set off back.
Just the two of them? No one else was there?
No, they always did it that way. Martin didn't like dragging people where it wasn't necessary, when they could be doing work elsewhere. But if I had been there with them, maybe he'd still be
Certainly.
alive. Thomas couldn't pull the wagon off him. He ran for help, but it was already too late.
I'm sorry. But I'm sure he's in God's kingdom now.
He was a good boy, a kind soul.
Have you been without carpenters for a while?
A long time. Since winter, it's been just me and Thomas.
Nobody stays around?
No. These days, it's hard to find a man you can rely on. Young lads today are bone idle. None of them wants to do an honest day's work.
And how many have actually
It was
worked
like
here?
that in every
About half a dozen,
era.
maybe more. We always put up with them till the most urgent work was done, then sent them packing.
And what about Jane? Shouldn't she have a husband by now?
What are you trying to say?
A pretty girl like her is ripe for marriage.
With a large dowry because she comes from a mill? Well, she had herself a man once, but he ran away during the winter. He wasn't up to the work either.
And how long did he last?
You know, he was here for a while. But back then my son was a foreman and he was a kindly soul. Too kind. He never threw anyone out.
So everyone started leaving when Thomas took over?
Well, Thomas is a dog on slackers. And just as well. Maybe it's harsh, but that's what you need nowadays. If we don't mill, folk don't eat.
So the moment Thomas became mill foreman, everyone started running off? Not one man could stand it here, even if they had a chance to marry Jane. Don't you think Thomas might be doing it on purpose? Sounds to me like he's after the mill, or your daughter, or both.
That's not like him. He's a good man and straightforward. He knows I can always send for a new mill foreman.
And Jane?
Don't worry about her. She'll wed whoever I approve of, even Thomas if he asks for her hand. At least with him, I know he won't leave the mill.
Indeed, why would he, once he's got rid of everyone else?
That's enough. I don't know why you're trying to slander Thomas, but I don't mean to listen to it any longer. God be with you.
But I'm right.
I heard what you asked my father. You can't expect help from him. He's none too sharp these days.
And can you help me then?
No. Nobody listens to me. But I wanted to say that Thomas does do it on purpose. He did it the same way before.
Why?
because he's afraid if someone comes who's more skilled, Father will notice and give his job to the newcomer.
And your father lets him? Can't he settle this?
He probably could, but he doesn't want to. My brother was the mill foreman before him, but last year a wagon overturned on him, broke his back. It broke my father too. And Thomas was here the longest. He was always close to my brother, so Father chose him as the mill foreman.
And Thomas doesn't listen to anyone? Can't you persuade him?
No. He keeps looking my way and tries to be nice, but he doesn't care what I've got to say. When I tell him something, it goes in one ear and out the other.
And this probably won't end well. Well, what happened to your brother?
And what does that have to do with this?
I don't know. You mentioned it, so I was just wondering.
There's not much to tell. A stone block that was loaded wrong, slippery ground after rain, and when the wagon overturned on him, there was no one around to help.
What do you mean, no one? Surely he wasn't alone.
No. He had Thomas with him. But Thomas couldn't lift the wagon off him, and by the time he found help, it was too late. And as if that wasn't bad enough, someone robbed my brother while Thomas was looking for help.
Someone robbed him after he was dead?
I don't know. But they took a mottled scarf which I gave him as a keepsake. He laughed when I gave it to him. He said it would make him look like a fop, but he still wore it all the time. And someone must have thought it was worth stealing.
But who'd steal a scarf?
Why are you asking me? When they brought him back here, he didn't have it. That's all I know.
I'm sorry about what happened to him.
Me too. But it was his own fault. If he'd brought more people with him, he'd still be alive. He was too kind for his own good.
I understand.
Okay. That's the miller's daughter. Was she the one that was sitting here on the bench when I wanted to speak to her later. So is there only old Thomas left? Let's look around in the mill so that we know what's where. Okay, there's just a stable and a kind of living room. This is the same stable. There's one chest that we could lockpick if we want to. Is this where they sleep? Maybe. This is where I could rob stuff or sleep. I have to close the door because I want to check on whether someone hit a scarf here. I just wanted to check. Because that scarf was so broadly mentioned that I'm almost 100% certain that Thomas has it as a proof for me that he killed the other guy. Okay, we did speak to everyone now. Everyone but Thomas. Don't anger him.
Flour, eggs, salt, yeast. Let it bake a bit and you'll be able to feed the whole family.
I am at your service, Sir Knight.
Oh, you look already like that. We're not provoking him and we're not going with the dice game.
So what do you think about the workers I brought you?
If I hadn't put in a good word for them, the miller would have thrown them out by now.
I heard them say something else.
So they're complaining, are they? I provide for them and all they do is slack off.
Isn't it the miller who provides for them?
He can't manage the work anymore. If it weren't for me, there'd be nothing left standing around here.
But you need the help anyway, and they're pretty handy.
Maybe, but they're in no danger of overworking themselves. They act like they're too good for the mill, and I saw them eyeing up Jane.
Yeah, nothing strange about that. She's a pretty girl, and she's of an age to marry.
It's not marriage they've got on their minds. They'd have their way with her, then before her belly started to grow, they'd have run for the hills.
Look, we can reach an agreement. You need the mill fixed, they need the money. If they have peace to do their work, they'll be able to finish it faster.
But...
And then they'll take their groschen and leave. The mines will open again.
No,
the
that's
faster
not
they
what
get
I
their
wanted.
money, the quicker they'll be gone.
But do you really think I can trust them to do it? will they do their work and leave? And leave Jane alone in the meantime?
No.
Now I think about it, probably not. You've been a pest for a long time now, and I want to pay you back for it.
Then why the hell did you start talking about it?
I didn't want
You were
to.
just wasting my time.
It's not like you do anything anyway. Apart from sitting around yelling at the men actually doing the work.
Listen, I was being pretty reasonable, but now you're on thin ice. If you want to fight, just say so.
But we need to pick a place for the fight that isn't too public.
That's one thing we can...
Do you have any idea where we could do it?
There's
Fuck
a place
you.
to the north of Ledichko we can
Fuck
go to
you.
after sunset.
Good.
Fine.
Take your pick.
What?
Fuck you.
You're a... God be with you.
Fuck you, game. You are fucking kidding me, game. You're fucking kidding me. Asshole game. Wow. I have to do all the talking again because, wow, I picked the option to ask him, how are the carpenters doing? I just asked him, how are the carpenters doing? And Henry went on and on and on and on. And nothing of that was an option I chose. So I won't talk to him about anything at all, because Henry is an oaf, and I'll have to talk to everyone again, see when I did that. Okay, we talked to everyone again. That took like 2 minutes, skipping
Jesus
through
Christ
the
be
dialogue.
praised.
I asked, how are the carpenters? And Henry wanted to do a deal which I didn't approve of, because that's not the option I choose. If there was a deal option, I would have said, no, we're not doing the deal, we're investigating. But that doesn't stand here, that he wants to make a deal. Fuck you, game. It's not like that in real life. You don't accidentally make a deal by asking how the weather is. That's not...
I heard you were with the miller's son when the wagon fell on him.
What of it?
I just heard some talk and I wanted to get the story straight from you.
Talk? From who?
I heard some gossip about it at the alehouse. What happened? Was it really lightning that scared the horses?
What? No, there wasn't any storm. It was just the road was muddy, and so we rode closer to the edge of it.
It's a real stroke of bad luck, isn't it?
Tell me about it. If I'd been behind the wagon, it would have fallen on me too.
Why did only 2 of you go?
He always did it that way. 2 people are enough for the trip, and if we needed an extra pair of hands, we could always find some local.
Except at the end. If there had been more of you, he might have survived.
Do you think I don't know that? I couldn't move the wagon on my own, so I went looking for help. We'd met a few travelers along the way, and I ran to find them, but it was too late. The weight of it crushed him while I was gone.
I'm sorry.
Me too. Me too. I didn't want to be the mill foreman, but
Liar.
the last thing he ever said to me, the very last thing he ever asked of me, was to take care of the mill.
Liar.
And I heard someone robbed him.
Robbed? What kind of nonsense is that?
I heard he was missing something when they brought him back.
What? I don't remember anything.
He had a scarf with him.
Really? I don't know. Maybe he lost it on the way. Or it sank into the mud. Yes, that's probably it. It's still buried there somewhere.
Well, I hope he's resting in peace.
Amen. Farewell.
Okay, that's about this. Do we have an objective marker to see where the wagon is? No. Okay. We need to find out by ourselves. Okay, I can't even talk to Mermaid Jane again. He is in not conversation mode.
I'm not talking to you anymore.
He doesn't like me anymore because I pushed him too much on the Thomas matter.
Goodbye.
Fritz doesn't know more.
Hey, Henry!
I spoke with the miller's daughter.
It's a shame her father won't listen to her. She knows all about Thomas, but...
Her father doesn't believe her.
He reckons it's just a woman's fancy. He probably thinks she's smitten with one of us. Not that I'd object, but she's a clever one. She'd make a better miller than either of those 2. Goodbye.
That's all we learn here. So we need to find that scarf. That's another weird door that we can't interact with. Can't go up that ladder, yeah? Okay. So we need to look in one of the chests, like this one, the very hard one. No, that's for the miller's main supply stuff.
Rolls and pretzels.
I mean, this is like completely out of the way. There's no scarf in it. Don't know who sleeps where. This will be another chest that we'll have to take care of. Still no scarf. Those are these two. I mean, there's the very hard chest over there. I'll have to go for that at night. Wanted to see. This one didn't have one, yeah? Does it have... What? There's a weird... Ah, that's the close prompt. I was uncertain whether there was a dig prompt or something like that. That would have also been interesting. Here's one more of these chests. Need to wait until he turns around though. We can be completely silent doing that, but...
Got bellyache, have you? That's nasty.
That one doesn't have a scarf. So we can try two things. We can what the fuck is going on with this menu all the time? We can go for I'm always saying lockpicking. Can go for pickpocketing. Don't want to knock him out. I have the scarf. Was that a scarf? A grubby scarf. Wow, that was good. Good that I leveled pickpocketing. Originally a nice scarf that Thomas from the Lechko mill had in his pocket apparently for quite some time. And that scarf, I could have also knocked him out and got it from him, but I wanted to look through his inventory first.
Enough. I found this at your place. Now, will you admit you killed him?
Killed who? What the hell are you talking about?
This! And there's only one way you could have got hold of it. Did you take it while Martin was still breathing, or did you wait until it was all over?
That's ridiculous. I didn't kill him. Why would I do that?
So you'd be the one giving orders instead of taking them. You want the mill for yourself.
I never wanted this. It's not the life for me. But he told me to take care of the mill and his sister, and I promised I would.
Yeah, a nice story. And that scarf was supposed to seal the deal you two made, right? At least that's probably what you told yourself.
No. I took it to remind me of my promise. But that doesn't matter. What are you trying to prove?
Well, I could take the scarf and go and tell Jane you had it this whole time. Then I could hint you might have done it on purpose, and pretty soon we'd see how everyone starts looking at you.
Why would you do that, you bastard? Unless you want something.
I want you to get out of here and never come back. The mill will be better off without you.
You've lost your wits, haven't you? You think a piece of cloth and a few lies from some stranger is going to convince anyone here?
Like I said, Jane isn't too fond of you already. Imagine how she'll hate you after this.
That's not true.
That's what you think. But who knows what she'll do? Never talk to you again? Put something in your porridge? Or maybe she'll be so distraught she'll jump into the river. And what will happen to the miller then? You'll have lost everything that matters to you.
Very well. You win. Have it your way. I'll leave and never come back. I don't want to hurt anyone, but you'll end up in hell for this. Good luck to you.
And that was the first time I actually used pickpocketing for anything else than an activity. Oh god. That was a bit too much for my heart. Actually having to use that skill that never works and has like the thing going on where there's a 50% chance. I have 93% noise in my armor. That's crazy. Also I have 17 charisma. It's not even sunny right now. It's raining. We can now talk to Matthew because we saved them. We sorted out Fritz and Matthew's problems with Thomas. Can we talk to... No, we can't talk to Jane again.
Greetings, Henry.
Problem solved. He won't bother you again.
Really? How'd you pull it off?
I found out he has a soft spot, and I gave it a good poke.
I'd love to know what you found out about him.
It doesn't matter. But it was enough for him to pack his things and disappear.
Jesus, it must have been something terrible. So he's really gone?
Yes. Now it's just you, so try not to misbehave.
You know us, we'd never do that. Thank you kindly, Henry. We owe you again. Here, it's not much, but it's all we have. Goodbye.
We got some groschen. Would have liked some stealth training more, but I also take groschen. Is a friend indeed
Good
is
health to you.
done. Okay, so no follow-up dialogue with Matthew, no follow-up dialogue with Jane.
Hey, what? God be with you.
He didn't like that, I suppose. But he said sweatface to me all the time. Oh
What are you
god,
up to here?
aren't
Get
even
out of here, or I'll
aren't
call
even
the
allowed
guards on
to
you.
enter the mill
Is
anymore.
there something you need?
Can't even talk to the mill anymore. Okay, so no follow-up dialogue. But that was all we learned now in this episode. We have helped Matthew and Fritz again, and they'll be coming back because they won't live long here. 14 lockpicking. We need to go to 15 so that we can train once more, so that we can finally go for all very hard chests. I hope so, at least. Stealth is at 13. But let's look at our quest log. We have Restless Spirits is a thing that we have done so much now that I want to go back to the main quest again. But we have the follow-up quest with Herman the Executioner. And since that's still fresh in my mind, the first quest, I want to do that follow-up quest. And before that, we're going to go for, where is it? Trying that once more. I wanted to try out whether something happens if I win at maximum wager. That's how we'll start the next episode. You'll see maybe a fast forward of that or something like that. And then we'll go for Executioner Herman. And the episode after that, I suppose, will be main questing again. So, I'm gonna save my game now. I'm gonna read you a book. Then I'm gonna save my game and then I'll be off. We'll be reading 2 books today because then we're done with all the books. We only have one book left with the number 2 behind it that I won't read until I have the other books. So we're done with all books then. And I don't have to think about reading books to you every time at the end of an episode. So, St. Adalbert. Upon the death of Bishop Dietmar, the first bishop of the kingdom of Bohemia, Wojtek, known as Adalbert of the Slavnik clan, took his place. It transpired in the year 982. Recalling to mind the words of his predecessor, that amongst the common people many injustices had spread, that polygamy amongst the nobility and blood feuds amongst the people did flourish, that no soul did honor neither Sabbath nor holy days, and in their place they held markets, that Christians were sold into slavery, and that in the countryside pagan customs did flourish. He resolved to devote his life to fighting against such iniquity. For 5 years did he endeavor to eradicate those iniquities, but he failed, and disgusted he traveled to Rome to beg the Holy Father for counsel. And he said unto him, My son, if you are incapable of leading your people, then redraw and at least try to save yourself. And he wanted to journey to Jerusalem, but it was impossible to pass himself off as a common pilgrim, for his bishop's vestments gave him away. But cast them aside he could not. And he gave his possessions to the poor, and he did cast aside his vestments, and he secluded himself in a Benedictine monastery for several years. But here as well he did see how morality had been degraded, and how the monks lived a nearly earthly life, and in disgust he departed and returned to pastoring and the crosier. To rectify at least some things, he founded Brevnov Monastery, as well as several others, and invited monks of great morals to them to live and devote themselves to God according to the strictest monastic laws. In the year of our Lord 995, a horrible catastrophe struck his family. Every last man and child was murdered at the fortified town of Libes, whence only Adalbert escaped, perhaps because he was not there, or because no soul dared to lay a hand upon a bishop. People evil of tongue claim that it was the Piemslit clan that did commit this massacre to solidify its power in Bohemia. Others say that it was Adalbert himself who was responsible, for he offered an adulterous wife, who, according to custom, should have been killed, asylum in his church, and thus the disgraced clan of the husband wanted vengeance, but not finding him at Libes, they called his family instead. Sorrowed and disgusted, Adalbert once again retired from his affairs and set off as a missionary to the north, to the land of the pagan Prussians. There he desired to spread the Christian faith and to fight against the pagans' idolatry. But the local inhabitants did not wish to see him and greeted him with stones and sticks. Seeing such idolatry, he destroyed their idols and chopped down their sacred grove, for they did bow before trees and considered them to be holy. When the pagans saw this, they killed Adalbert, and their trees did drink his blood, and his body they left there. It was only Boleslaus the brave who had the holy remains of this martyr taken to Prague. And the second book is on the Adamites. That's also about a sect. On the Adamites, or naked worshippers. In the year of our Lord 1259, a new heretical sect did come to Bohemia and settled amongst the people. The Adamites, or naturalists, traveled through the land at that time. Exposing their backs, they did roll as pigs in mud and beat themselves with canes, and then through the land did proceed with their nakedness and shame for all to see. They spake evil of our fatherly pastors and of the word of God, when they proclaimed that our devotion to God and our atonement be of greater worth than your praying. And they did press for the Holy Mass to be done away with, for it was their belief that every soul could find its way towards the Heavenly Father without the Holy Church's guidance. And when the common people and lords alike did see this, for they were ignorant of the knowledge that it was the devil's hand that led the Adamites, they did join unto them, and in great numbers their backs did beat. Even the women did vow themselves to these unclean deeds. Had they the desire to make their lives right with God and atonement therein receive, they should have turned to the priest. But lo, the naturalists, guided by the devil Lucifer, did endeavor to replace the holy Pope on his throne. When this news was heard in the holy city of Rome, an army was raised to smite these heretics by sword and by flame, for they were indeed nothing more than heretics. I tend to agree with them to some point and agree with the church on other points. The church is not all bad as people always try to tend to see it. But we'll maybe speak more about those matters when we come back to the monastery. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow.